Welcome to day 4 of the Peaceful Parent Challenge. Confident parenting is today. So, how to raise a child who's confident, successful, and thoughtful, a sensitive personality with good self-esteem. So, understanding self-esteem. William Sears says, what children believe about themselves is the heart of what they become. So, we so desperately need our kids to have a good sense of self-esteem, a good sense of self-worth. So self-esteem is a generally positive or generally negative view of self. So it doesn't change necessarily from moment to moment. Overall, on average, does your child have a positive view of themselves or a negative view of themselves? Self-esteem is about believing that you're valuable, that you're worthwhile, that you can contribute something special to the world. It increases a child's resilience and is a good defense against life's challenges. A positive self-esteem is important for healthy relationships, for reaching goals and life success. So if you have a positive self-esteem, a positive sense of self-worth, you are going to see your strengths, you're going to make goals, you're going to want to reach those goals as best as you can. And when you fail or you make a mistake, that's okay. You get frustrated, but you pick yourself up and you keep going. Someone with a generally negative view about themselves is going to be less motivated to make goals, less motivated to try and reach them. They're going to feel bad that they're not going to reach them, so they might not even try. Self-esteem helps our kids be successful in life. A child with low self-worth does not feel good about themselves and will act poorly because he feels he can't get his needs met from others around him. So these are the kids that have negative attention-seeking behavior. And sadly, our typical response to this is to back off and say, okay, this is negative attention-seeking. We're going to put you in a timeout, or we're going to discipline it. And at the end of the day, when you can behave properly, you can come back and we'll get on with our day. But the problem is they don't feel good about themselves. And our kids see themselves through our eyes. They experience good self-esteem when they have a strong attachment relationship. When their love bucket, like in the last video, when their love bucket is full and is constantly being refilled by their very important attachment figures. So this is so essential for our kids' life success. So a negative view, when our children have a negative view of themselves, they actually screen out the positive and they only see the negative. So there may be strengths, there may be some really good things about our child and we can see them, but they can't. They have a brain blindness to the positive. And so we have to help them focus on that. We have to help them see that. And I'll give you strategies to do that in this video. So they have a negative view. A negative view will only believe the negative. Low self-esteem creates tempers, anxiety, anger, distress, behavior problems, a lot of fear and anxiety, depression, attention-seeking behaviors. Low self-esteem influences a lot about how our children behave. So we can have kids who are whiny and cry a lot. And the source of that is their self-esteem, right? So disciplining whininess or telling them to use their words or to behave better is only going to be a band-aid solution for the moment. What really needs to happen is building our children up so they have a positive self-worth. They know that they're special and they contribute something wonderful to the world. You know that they have negative self-esteem or lower self-esteem when you discipline their behavior and the behavior actually gets worse. It doesn't get better. If it's not getting better, it's negative attention seeking. If it's negative attention seeking behavior, it means their self-esteem is suffering and they need some help. They need some repair work. When kids have, so let me back up. Sorry, I'm not reading my notes properly here. Sensitive children struggle more with lower self-esteem. Why? So just as a whole, they have a harder time with developing really good self-worth. When they do, it's amazing and they can be so resilient and so regulated, but they need extra help to be able to get there. So why do they struggle with lower self-esteem? They desire to please others and constantly put others before themselves. And this is a hard thing because they're not getting their needs met. The other piece, the other reason why this is really hard, when our kids get a little bit older and they're putting their peers before themselves, um, kids by nature, from a developmental perspective, are very self-focused. So they need to be self-focused in order to be able to get through their development. The problem is when sensitive children put others before themselves and those others are self-focused, now all of a sudden they're not getting the feedback that they need to know that they did something good, that the other person is happy, that they contributed something valuable. And so this creates a lot of anxiety and distress, and as a result can create lower self-esteem. They're very sensitive to what other people think, say, and believe. What you say, the words you use really matter to sensitive personality. They will put that into the core of who they are. So the next point illustrates this as well, that they're negatively affected by traditional discipline strategies because how you discipline is incorporated into the core of who they are. If you have an angry tone, if you use particular words to describe their behavior, they are now thinking very poorly about themselves. They've made a mistake. You've seen that they make a mistake. They feel awful. Um, so we can't use the same kind of discipline with sensitive kids. And we'll get into that on another day. I do have some discipline strategies for sensitive personalities. They also self-punish before you discipline because they don't like making mistakes. When they do make a mistake, they feel horrible. They feel horrible about themselves and they'll self-punish. So you hear things like, I'm so stupid. I can't do anything right. No one likes me. I shouldn't be around. I wish I wasn't here. You hate me. So many different variations of that statement. They are incorporating their mistake, your voice, the tone of your voice, the experience of the discipline. They're incorporating that into who they are. They're self-punishing and they feel horrible. It's not a manipulation. It's not attention seeking. It truly is. They feel awful about themselves and they're suffering. They worry about things that could embarrass them. And have strong reactions when they are embarrassed. So one more thing, and I don't think I added it in here, one more thing with self-esteem is that it's not just experiences that cause them to feel good about themselves or not good about themselves. It's also imagined or perceived or even dreamed about things that can cause them to feel negatively about themselves because they have such a rich inner world. They can come up with things that can make them feel good or not good. So this is a little bit tricky when it comes to sensitive personalities. So they're harsh self-critics. They don't like making mistakes. They love following the rules. They don't all the time, obviously, because they're still kids, but when they make a mistake, they beat themselves up. Because of their sensitivity, they can easily be made to feel like there's something wrong with them. They can be easily ignored or they can feel unimportant just by body language, facial features, things that you say. They can feel ignored, unimportant, or there's something wrong with them. They're afraid to overestimate their abilities, so they often underestimate. So it's not even a realistic perspective. It literally is they underestimate what they're capable of. So they need your support to be able to see reality, what they are capable of. They have higher levels of anxiety in new situations, which can cause them to be teased by peers, and the teasing they incorporate into themselves. So when your child is overstimulated by sensory, she can't perform a task well, and as a result can be hard on herself for making mistakes. So what's a good example of this? When your child, say, for example, even with studying, so you've studied your heart out with your child, you know that your child is really good at math, knows all of the stuff that she needs to do for the particular math test that's coming up. Then she gets to class, the fluorescent lights are kind of bugging her. The students in her class that day are particularly energetic and there's a lot of noise and chaos going on. They have a sub maybe teaching the class, and that's unexpected. It's a new person. And now she has to do this test. She's overwhelmed, overloaded, and has a sense of performance anxiety. She does her math test and fails or doesn't do well as well as expected. And she feels horrible. because she knows she could have done better, but she just lost it because she was overstimulated by so many different stressors around her. So this then is incorporated into their personality as well. When your child knows that he can do something really well and then fails because of performance anxiety or sensory overwhelm. So, how can you help a sensitive child create confidence, to feel good about themselves, to know that they're worthwhile and they contribute? There's some very important things to be mindful of. So be mindful of the style of discipline you're using for your child. That is a whole day that we're going to get to in this challenge. A whole day on discipline, because it is so important to make sure that you're disciplining them right. You need to treat yourself with love and respect. Your child, like I said at the beginning, takes in every detail. She's watching what you do. She's watching how you take care of yourself. She's watching the words that you use. For example, if you do something and you're like, oh, I'm an idiot, right? She sees that and she will model exactly how you treat yourself. So you have to be careful how you say things about yourself, what you do, and that you're showing yourself love and respect. And modeling confidence for your child. How confident are you when you go out and do something, whether it's new or not? Are you going thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going to do awesome? And are you speaking that out? Or are you anxious and worried and you're speaking that out? Oh my goodness, I don't know if I can do this. I'm not sure. I might make mistakes, right? How you model confidence is what your child sees, and she experiences the very same thing because she role models after you. So be mindful of the word, that your words match your tone, your voice, your body language, and your facial expression. And words matter. Watch how you say things to your child. Watch how you say things about your child, even when she's not around. Watch how you say things about other people. How you, what's a better word? I want to say judge or criticize or comment on other people. She's watching all of this, and she will use that same perspective, that same tone on herself. Words matter to a sensitive child. Do not rescue your child from emotions or natural consequences. There's 2 points here stuck together, so I'm going to deal with the first one first. So don't rescue your child. It's so important that your child has the opportunity to experience positive and negative emotions and experiences that are challenging. What she does need from you, rather than you jumping in and rescuing her from being sad, it's okay, you don't need to be sad, or maybe we won't do that certain activity because I know it's going to be hard, and my son is going to be really upset if he can't manage it. You don't want to avoid things. You don't want to rescue. What you do want to do is walk with your child through the challenging things, nurture your child, encourage your child, and show pride for effort. Because the more experiences you can walk with your child through, the more you expand their tolerance of difficult challenges and difficult emotions. And the more they can tolerate, the better they're able to do it next time. And then the next time. So the second part of this point, show respect for your child's thoughts, feelings, needs, and opinions. Your child has a lot of things going on inside. She has a rich inner world. She has thoughts and feelings, and you will help build her self-esteem if you listen to those thoughts, if you comment on the feelings, if you hear her needs, and you take into account her opinions about different things. Instead of saying, you know what, this is an adult thing, I've got it. No, we're not going to do that. Don't stand in the way of her genius or your son's genius. Take it into account. They have some really amazing ideas and opinions and experiences. And when you do that, they feel valued, that they're important and that they can contribute. Praise your child's effort, not the product. This is key for any personality, but so key for a sensitive child. Let's go back to grades in school. So your child takes a math test and she does really well. She gets an A on the test, or he gets an A on the test, right? Instead of saying, yes, you got an A, that's amazing, which sounds good. It's actually not. What's better is, wow, you got an A. You put so much effort into getting that A. You studied so hard. You must be proud. The effort, right? So if she got 50% or 95%, you're still praising the effort that your child put in, not the product. If you praise the product, your sensitive child who's so focused on not making mistakes will focus even harder on not making mistakes. And when she does make a mistake, it's going to be that much worse. With a sensitive child, especially, you cannot focus on the product. It's the effort that your child puts in. So she's going to start seeing her effort, her strengths, what she contributes, if you can focus on that as well and encourage that side of things. When your child says she can't do something, always add the word yet. I can't play soccer. You can't play it yet, but if you keep practicing, you're going to be so good at it, right? Oh, I can't tie my shoes yet. Let's keep trying. We'll figure it out, right? Yet is a magical word. Help your child discover her thing. So each child is really talented in a certain area. Every child needs their thing. So one child might be great at soccer. Indulge that. One child may be good at piano. Indulge that. That's their thing, something that they can be proud of and get really good at and feel like they can have an identity around. Find the thing that they love, find the thing that they're talented in, and make sure you spend time and energy and effort helping them develop those talents. And teach healthy boundary setting. So sensitive personalities, like I said, have a hard time setting boundaries because they don't want to hurt someone else's feelings. So they won't speak up. They won't say what their needs are to a peer or another teacher or another adult. They have a hard, or even their siblings, because they don't want to cause conflict. They don't want someone else to feel bad or be put out. So they need help trying to figure out, first of all, where the boundary is okay to place and how to communicate that, and then be okay with the result of setting that boundary. It's a huge process. Teaching healthy boundaries is essential, or your child will never know how to do it, and then they will be taken advantage of as they go through life. So imprint positive things about your child. What do I mean by this? Doesn't matter how big or how small, point it out. You noticed that I needed the dishwasher cleaned and you did it for me. That's amazing. Or look how detailed this picture is that you drew for me. It's so special, right? Point out the things your child is doing well. Oh, you noticed I was coming down the hall and you moved before I even had to ask. That's incredible, right? Point these out. She will start noticing the things that she does that make you happy, and she's going to do more of them, and she's going to see more of them. The key with these kids is they need to see it. They need to know what they're doing well. Then go one step further and create an audience for that positive thing. So when you're on the phone with a friend and your child is in earshot, what do? You're chatting with your friend and you say, oh my goodness, you know what my son did the other day? I was walking down the hall with all of these things in my arms and he just moved without me even asking. It was so amazing. He's just so thoughtful, right? You're creating an audience so your son knows how proud you are, how big that thing was. Someone else knows, and now it becomes something even deeper into the core of who they are. Another thing you can do is create a wall of fame. Your child can help you build this for himself and for others. So a wall of fame is something, a wall in your house that you post things that everybody did well. So everybody gets a spot on the wall. You can put pictures up of something they did well. You can put comments up from teachers, friends, peers, or even things that you write throughout the day of what they did well. And so if you put this in a public place, then when people come in through your house, they can notice how awesome your kids are doing. And for a sensitive personality, this is huge because now you are teaching her to screen for the positive versus screen out the positive. Huge lesson. Show interest in your child's ideas and don't get in the way of their genius. So a really good example of this would be, what can I think of off the top of my head? Your child takes a fork out of the drawer and starts using it and drumming on the floor or a pan or the wall. And you drum right along with your child, right? So they've created this, their own drum to play with. You can add to it, create a game out of it, create musical instruments within the house, anything but stopping and saying, that's not what we use forks for. We use forks to eat, so please put it back in the drawer. Don't get in the way of their ideas, because they will build on these amazing ideas and come up with the coolest things. They're creative, they're genius, and you don't want to get in the way of that. Obviously, if they're breaking something, that's not okay, but indulge some of these creative things and get excited over them, because that will help their self-esteem. So scaffold challenging things. I've talked about this a little bit before. Think of a staircase. The top is where you want your child. The bottom is where your child is at. Each step on the staircase is one step closer to where you want them to be. How much support and effort does your child need from you to be able to make it up each step, right? Encourage your child as she makes her way up each step to get to the end goal, and notice her efforts. She's doing awesome. She's doing amazing. She's doing it even though she's not exactly where you need her to be in that moment. These are things that can build her self-esteem. Be positive about failures and mistakes for your child and for yourself, right? Mistakes are opportunities to learn, and your child needs to know that these are opportunities to learn, not reasons to beat yourself up about. They have a tendency of beating themselves up, self-shaming, and being hard on themselves for a mistake that they've made, for a failure that they've had. This is not good. We need to help them see that you made a mistake, you get up, you keep going, and you keep learning. You never give up, for your child and for yourself. She's watching you. Role model a positive attitude about your own mistakes. Spend frequent one-on-one time with your child playing something of her choice. And write this on the calendar so that she can see that you are intentionally spending some time with her. Your child gets to choose the activity. Dads play Barbies with their daughters. Moms play sword fighting with your sons. Whatever they choose, this is showing your child how valuable and special and worthwhile they are, that you're spending time with them. It's helping your attachment. It's laying out that foundation of feeling like my attachment figure thinks I'm awesome, so I must be awesome. So the more times you spend nurturing that relationship is so important for your child's self-esteem. Make sure to say more positive statements to your child than negative. So if you notice you're saying no, 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 or don't do that, or that's bad, or what's going on, make sure you either stop saying it as often, reframe it for something positive, or add in more positive statements. Think about that scale. Which side is the statements tipping? Is there more positive or more negative? Your child is going to feel negative about themselves if there is more negative statements. Negative does not correct behavior. It makes a child feel like they're not worthwhile, that they're not worthy, that they're not special. Reframe negative comments. Instead of he is stubborn, say things like, oh, he's got a very persistent personality. Instead of saying, oh my goodness, he just gets into everything. Oh, he's so curious, right? Reframe things. It helps you in relationship with your child. It gives you more empathy, more compassion, gives you more positive perspective, but it helps your child feel more positive about themselves too. Remind your child of past experiences and situations that he's mastered. So what has your child done well, right? When your child is feeling low or sad or depressed, or that they can't do something, let's go back and look at all the things that you've done. You've done this, and you've done this, and you've done this. You put so much effort into learning this, and you did it, right? Go through all those things. Go through picture books to show all of the awesome things that your child has done. At night, talk about highlights and moments of gratitude through the day. So what was the very favorite thing that happened? Never avoid experiences. We've already talked about this, especially new ones. Don't allow them to indulge in anxiety, the stress, the caution. Instead, scaffold, encourage, and process the resulting feelings. Do not compare your child to anyone but herself. Don't say, oh my goodness, the other students in your class can do this, or your friend can do this, or your sister could do this at your age. she will incorporate that as a, oh my goodness, I'm not good enough, or I'm not meeting these needs, or I can't do this. What's wrong with me? Instead, compare your child to herself yesterday, last week, or last year. Oh my goodness, look at what you're learning. Last week, you couldn't do this. You're growing so much. It's amazing, right? That's a huge difference in perspective, huge difference in energy. Indulge your child's interest, even if you have no interest in the activity. Let your child flourish in who they are. If they like playing Barbies, play Barbies. If they like playing soccer, play soccer. If they like building towers, then build towers. But indulge that and do what your child loves. All right, homework. Questions. How does your child talk about herself on a daily basis? And how can you change this around to make it more positive? What phrases does your child use about herself when you are upset with her? I am stupid. I can't do things well enough. No one likes me. These are very good indicators that her self-esteem is suffering and it needs to change. It needs to be different. So take a deep breath. Say to yourself, the words I use influence what I think about myself and influences what my child thinks about herself. Do. What words do you use when you're frustrated with your child? Reframe these words as something positive about your child. How does this change your thoughts? How does this change your energy? How does this change your perspective? It's huge. Give that a shot, and I will see you tomorrow for day 5.